My name's Jeff Morgan. I'm with Dad Talk today down in, this is Liberty Field, right?
This is now Liberty Field, yes,
Liberty
sir.
Field.
The real Liberty Field,
the
right?
real Liberty Field down here in Arlington, Texas. And I'm with Kelly Burke. Now, Kelly, good to meet you, first off.
You too.
He stole my body, I'll tell you that right off the bat.
I'll give it back to him after the interview, don't worry, guys.
There you go, good enough. But good to meet you.
You too.
You're running for mayor.
I am. I'm running for Mayor of Arlington, Texas, and we are in Arlington, Texas right now, in the middle of Liberty Field.
Okay, so tell us what you're gonna, what is your platform? Tell us what you're running, why you think you can make a contribution to Arlington as a mayor.
Yes, sir. So, first of all, let me just say that I am a conservative. So, conservative is my moral compass and code. So, Christian, and I believe that these are the values that I want to bring to Arlington, Texas. So, God first, family are very important things to me. So displaying that the importance of having a family, father, mother, and children in the home, I think that when we show this and young people see it, it sparks something in them, because we've seen that this is very forgotten, which brings us back to the name of the show, which you know, so many people have forgotten, and we push family to the side. And I think it's a very important thing, because we want our younger generation to see husbands and mothers and people in the household thriving together and being successful. So these are a few things that I'm resting my platform on.
Okay, great. So you mentioned family, and I'm glad that you did mention that, because family is the essential building block of society.
Yes, sir.
It was Vladimir Lenin who said, destroy the family, destroy society.
That's it, and it worked.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing this with, I always talk about the issue of no-fault divorce, but really the other issue that we talk about a lot is fatherlessness, and increasingly motherlessness.
Yeah.
Because that's been happening too. But tell me a little bit about the history of the Black family.
Yeah.
Because I think that there has been a lot of misrepresentation over how strong the Black family once was.
Yes.
And how trying to so-called, we're going to help the Black family, has destroyed the Black family.
Wow, great question. So let's talk about it. So coming out of slavery, the Black family became the most successful and strongest unit in America, actually. Up until the 1960s, the Black people were two-parent households, and the most successful. Their dollars turned over more in the economic system than anybody else. As a matter of fact, if you read Booker T. Washington's Up for Slavery, he tells a story about when he came from the plantation, that they were the fishermen, they were the hunters, they were the builders, they were the crop shareholders. They did all of the actual physical work, so that when they left and got free from slavery, the slave owners didn't know how to do any of the physical work. So, but let's stop there for a minute. He also talked about in the book that the average slave owner was nice to the slaves. I know people don't like to hear that, because we don't agree. We both agreeing today that slavery was not right, right? Exactly.
Absolutely.
So that we're going to get that out of the way. But we're just saying that Booker T. Washington in his book described that slave owners allowed slaves to marry while they were on the plantation, allowed them to have kids, didn't break up families. And so that when they split and left the plantation, that they impacted the slaves so much that a lot of instances, the slaves would go back as free, successful men and either take care of the slave master or employ him or buy the land back and still allow him to live there.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about less than 100 years ago, right?
Right.
Window, we're talking about a successful family organ of people that stayed strong, and their money turned over more in the Black community and household than any other community. So we fast forward to the 1960s, where LBJ rolled out government assistance and said, if there is no man in the household, we'll pay a woman X amount of dollars. We'll give you assistance with food. We'll give you assistance with housing. And from that point on, the Black community and communities abroad, let's not just say Black people, it's happened to white America as well.
Absolutely it has.
Where we see that a great exodus of fathers from the household and a great exodus of two-parent households in both communities, because it went both ways. But it completely destroyed the Black community and completely destroyed the nuclear family, which is the backbone of American society altogether.
Right. And you know, Booker T. Washington, you know, it was Alan West recommended reading the book Booker T. Washington, Up from Slavery. So I said, well, you know what? Alan recommended it. I'm like, wow. I'll tell you what.
And you learn so much history from that book, right? It's stuff that we just didn't learn in school.
You learn history, and I don't care whether you're Black or white or Asian or Japanese, whatever you are. Booker T. Washington is a hero for the ages. He's an outstanding person.
I agree, yes.
But what you talked about, the issue about fathers basically exiting the family. What I don't think people realize is that many times fathers were almost forced out of families with the LGBTQ program, because the financial incentives were tied to what? No daddy at home.
Fatherlessness. And if we would incentivize you if there was no man there. So what happened before is, if you don't incentivize anyone to have a kid out of wedlock, then the parents were more likely, even if the kid was born out of wedlock, to eventually either stay together or get married.
Right.
And they stayed together at least until the kids were grown and out of the house.
Right.
That was a common thing for all of our communities when we were younger.
Right.
But when you incentivize someone, now we start having women and people carry children and have children with one parent in the household, and not only just have one, because the numbers start getting so high that if you start having multiple children, you can have a great income.
Yeah, I know.
And then you'll pay my rent, and then you'll give me free food too.
Right. And in fact, there was one sheriff that I talked with. He's running for sheriff actually, and he said, Jeff, he said, in my community, and he was talking about the black community,
yes,
but
sir.
I also know it's not just black community. But what he said is that in my community, there are women, and they want to have children from at least 3 different men, because that's 3 sources of income.
Man.
And I was like, I had not heard that.
Yeah.
But then I talked to somebody else who said that, one lady did the same thing and was having paternity tests.
Yeah.
Well, after like the 10th or the 11th paternity test, they were like, they're just, what is she doing? Well, she wanted to start with the richest person first, hoping that the richest person would be the person. Yes, but the thing that you've said is that the reward system right now is perverse. The reward system, the financial incentives from the federal government have destroyed this family, have not strengthened the family, and by destroying the family, they've helped to destroy society. Going by that basic premise, destroy the family, destroy society.
Yeah.
Any further comment on that?
Yeah, last thing, I want to piggyback on that. We're talking about the woman that chooses a rich man. Let's go to hip-hop artists, and let's go to athletes. So imagine a woman dating a hip-hop artist, or a rock star, or a very well-established rich man, gets pregnant by him. We're talking about upwards to $20,000-$30,000 a month for one kid. And so some of these guys, they have so much money that they don't have a problem with doing it.
Right.
And so some of these women are making upwards to $30,000 to $40,000 a month per kid.
Right.
So then we take that same situation and then we say, okay, now all you Americans that had Christian morals and values and that held strong to these values, you'll bend on them because we'll give you some money. And so you have people that normally would have stood strong and firm on the moral code and conduct of what most Americans did before, and biblical principles, and say, well, I don't want to have a kid out of wedlock, or I want to try to work it out with this person, or I want to try to stay in my marriage because this is just right. It's just right by God, it's just right for the family, it's just right for the kids. But if he's rich, he's gonna move on and I'll still live a good life. And it's like the ultimatum. And now we've getting people that they're just making deals. And so we're seeing, what are we talking about is the corruption of our government. And how big that they are. And they've trickled down into, years ago, it didn't matter what you incentivize American people with. We weren't gonna fall for the charade because we understood that our moral compass was what was guiding us and you couldn't buy us off. But we're being bought off and we're being misled. And in the words of Malcolm X, we're being bamboozled and fooled and tricked to think that this is the right way of life. And if you speak against it, then you're crazy. You're wrong. You're evil. And we just come to tell you people that everybody out there that's listening, there are some people that still hold true to the real values of this country. And we want you to know that there are party differences. And the Democratic Party rolled out all of these things that have destroyed the nuclear family, not only in Black America, but I just listened to a study and a lecture from, it was either 2013 or 2015, that white America's numbers are almost equaling Black America's numbers in single parent households now. And the divorce rates are just as high now. Babies out of wedlock is just as high now. So we see that it was created for one to kill one generation of people. But we want you guys to know that when it comes to the destruction of the American family, it's not a race thing. They wanted to destroy all families. And when the Bible speaks of the Antichrist is against marriage. That system that spirit is against marriage. That system is the same thing that's running our government, and we're asking you, please don't fall for it.
Yeah. So you've said so many good things there. There were like 3 or 4 questions that I wanted to.
Oh man, I'm sorry, I talked so much.
No, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. Because it's so rich, everything that you're saying. Let me talk about just a couple of things. I want to ask, talking about the children, because the reality is children that are reared in single-parent households, and I'm not saying that there are not heroic single parents out there that are trying to do something, but when you do have single-parent households, there is an identity crisis for the child, because the child was not born simply of a father or a mother. When it happens because the single-parent household is a necessity because of the death of a father or a mother, it's tragic. Yes. But when we have divorce, as we do in Texas, divorce on demand, divorce against which there is no defense, unilateral divorce, forced divorce, on demand, there are no exceptions that the divorce will be granted, and then we talk about the best interest of the child. Wow. Now tell me that makes no sense, because we know that children, and talking from the fatherless issue, not talking the motherless issue is another issue that's coming up. But from the fatherless issue, there's lots of studies, and they show that children that come from fatherless homes, they are more likely to not graduate from high school.
Yes, sir.
They're more likely to never go to college.
Yeah.
They're more likely to have drug problems, addiction problems, end up in jail, be in a gang. If you're a woman, if you're a girl, you're more likely to get pregnant outside of wedlock, have an abortion. You're more likely to have physical issues, physical problems, mental health problems. You're more likely to have trust problems the entire life, because the 2 people who were supposed to be there for you have quit on their marriage or never got married.
Yes.
That's the example that they've learned.
Yes.
How can we ever, in God's name, call this the best interest of the child? And the state of Texas incentivizes and rewards this type of behavior, and then they wash their hands as if we are taking care of the children.
Yeah.
Any comment on that?
Yeah, first let me just say, because if anybody watches this and they know anything about me, what you don't know, I do have a child out of wedlock, and she's a 10-year-old, my 10-year-old daughter, her name's Harmony Burke. I love you, baby. We're going to pick her up right now.
All right.
That's my first child. And let me just say, that is a very difficult situation of parenting outside of a home.
Right.
And I'm sure it's difficult for a mother as well, because I'm not in that house.
Right.
And so what I'm saying is culturally, this is a societal norm in our generation, and a lot of men fall for the same thing. And I'm not trying to say, I'm not putting this on her mother, I'm just saying it's okay.
Right.
So how do we fight against it? I had to put that in there.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, I have to give acknowledgement to my daughter first.
Yeah.
So, I want anybody to think I'm ashamed of my child, because I'm not. Ashamed of that, but not ashamed of my child. Here's the thing. I think as a body, the first thing is, eventually we need to pass legislation.
Okay.
To get the government out of men's matters. The bigger the government, the worse we're going to be. Now this is not an easy task, of course.
Right.
But we have to get enough people on board to pull some of these incentives away from our communities.
Right.
Because if we pull incentivizing people from doing sin, because that's what it is. If we pull the incentives away from us, then it'll make people start thinking consciously about their decisions. So that's the latter half of it. Now let's go to the right now fix.
Okay.
Speaking out against it.
Okay.
So many of us are afraid to let our voices be heard and used to speak out against a corrupt system that's incentivizing, let's just face it, evil.
It is incentivizing evil.
And mishaps.
And I'm glad you're saying it like
and
that.
stumbles. Yeah. Because of our mistakes, you'll bless me. It's like a kid that doesn't practice and plays a horrible football game. And then after the game, we all say, it's okay, Junior, come on, you played a great game. No, we'll say, Junior, you played a horrible game because you didn't practice. And the consequence of that is you lost.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the drawing board, and this week, take it more serious, focus on your craft, and you'll do better next week.
Yeah.
That's what we should be doing. We're living in this incentivized world for our mistakes.
Right.
And once we stop, because it's not gonna be an overnight thing to pass legislation,
right.
But you as a person cannot allow someone to give you something if you mess up.
Right.
It's so many mothers out there that are standing strong and taking care of their children without the government's help.
Right.
And I get it, there are absentee fathers, I get it, but a lot of you don't have absentee fathers.
Right.
A lot of people have the man that's trying to be a good father, trying to be involved, and likewise on the mother's side too.
Yeah.
Where you have the parents that are trying to co-parent and be a unit, and then you're still bringing the government in who mandates you to do certain things.
Yeah.
And it's messing up everything. So I'm saying to you, the first thing that we have to do is to please get the government out of your business. I don't even agree with the government being involved in marriage at all.
At all.
This is a thing between man and God. That's what marriage is. So we messed up, we already let them in there. The only thing that you can do is take control of your own life, take control of your own house, and get them out of your business. Allow that to be worked out with you and the man. And if you have to, I'm not giving you any advice, you have to do what's best for you. But for those of you out there that are strong enough to stand on your own 2 feet and take care of your own household, that's the only way it's gonna change, is by you standing up and doing it and educating people on how to do it. And that's just hard work. That's just the American way, isn't it?
So listen, I'm going to speak prophetically here right now.
Come on, give it to me, brother.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. He's calling it out.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
What are you going to do about judges? Because here's the other aspect of that. Because we have
big deal here.
We have the legislation, we have the legislature.
Okay.
The legislature has, to be honest with you, as you've said, they have completely failed on this matter.
Agreed.
And they've actually acted outside the Texas state constitution.
There you go.
So there is a big problem right there. But the judicial system right now is also exploiting parents.
Yeah.
And for example, you have right now, and I don't agree with what's going on in the legislation right now, what we have for different codes. But you have and I think you were alluding to this, you may have a mother who is saying, you're not doing your share, so you're not going to see your children.
Right.
I'm going to keep you out. Well, that's actually a state jail felony.
It is.
It's Texas 2503.
Right. Yes.
So that's an issue. But I've also watched too, because I've gone to these courts and I've watched these judges, and they decide that they are going to impose their opinions, their judgments on something that really the person has done nothing judicially wrong.
Right.
And they penalize a person who they choose indiscriminately. They end up hurting the child.
Yeah.
They call it the best interest of the child. But what I'm trying to say is that our judiciary needs eyes on it.
Agreed.
Some of these judges are corrupt. I think that some of them are being paid off. I cannot prove all of this stuff.
A lot of them.
Okay, I'm glad that you're saying that. What can we do to help reform the courts? What I've done, as I've mentioned, is I've gone in some of these courts and I've watched what's taking place. I've read transcript. I've seen during COVID, we've watched the hearings online. And the stuff that is taking place, I think everybody thinks, oh, you know what? The judges will do what's right. That is the most naive thing you can think in the state of Texas. What would you, as a mayor, perhaps, Mr. Mayor, what would you do to say, hey, you know what? We have an open court doctrine, and citizens of Arlington, we'd love you maybe to go and watch these judges and report to us. Or would you yourself go into the courts and say, I'm Mr. Mayor in here and I'm going to watch what my judges are doing?
Yes, both. I would go into the courts and I would bid the people to do the same thing. And then the last thing I would also do is I would urge the people to want to be judges, because we need people to want to occupy these, like you gave me amen on that one. We need people to want to occupy these positions. The reason we have judges in these positions and they're ruling the way they've been ruling for so long because no one's challenging them.
Right.
We don't have anybody, we have so many people want to be politicians, but who's lining up to want to be judges? And we've got to push these positions on the regular public and say, we need you to stand up and take some of these positions and fight for them. And let's push these judges out. If they're not getting the job done, let's just get them out and get some fresh blood in there. So we need real, wholesome people with conservative values that love God and country and love this state to stand up and come and fight for these positions. We get the right people in there, we're going to have a lot of stuff be done the right way, and that's what we call justice.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, is there any final words that you want to add, or if anybody wants to follow you?
Yes.
Because look at what you're saying is resonating with a lot of people right now, and they want to say, we want this man.
Yes, sir.
Even though we can't vote for him, we want him to be mayor, and we want him to be leading the charge.
Yes, sir.
You're a leader. I don't know how you got your leadership skills. I don't know what you're.
The church.
The church. Okay, good.
God and the church. Yeah.
Tell me.
Okay, so
how can we follow you?
All social media platforms are Kelly R. Burke, so KELLY RBURKE. The website is kellyburke4mayor.org. That's it. I mean, if you Google me, I'm popping right up. I'm trending everywhere right now. So let's keep that going. And we would love to have you get involved with the campaign and the movement. And the most thing that we need right now is prayer. More than money, more than boots on the ground, we need you guys to pray and stand strong, because we do believe that we're fighting a system, not just in this local political realm, but all the way to the White House. What he's doing right now, what the people behind the camera are doing right now, you can't see them, but they're there. We're all fighting a system that's being controlled and manipulated by a power that we don't see, but it's there. And so we need everybody to band together, use your voices, go out to social media, spread the truth. When you watch this video, repost it, tell everybody, make your comments, and stand with us, because mostly we need voices. Do you guys know, I'm gonna say this and I gotta get out of here. Do you guys know that you're not a threat to the FBI or the CIA or the government until you can gather 5,000 people together at one time? Do we know who just did that? Trump.
Yep. That's right.
So that's what we need to do. And we can't be afraid to be a threat. We can't be afraid to be a nuisance, because that's the only way we're gonna bring about a change.
Kelly, do you have children here right now?
Yeah, I got my babies here. Come on, Kelly.
Come on. Come on in.
Say hi.
Was that your daughter over there too?
Yes, this is literally the rest of them way over there.
Hey,
come here.
Come on. Yeah, come bring them all in.
So this is, this is Lily. Wave to the camera. Say hi.
Hey, really?
You see it's right there.
It's right in front of you.
And this is little Kelly. Say hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Hey,
can they see you?
You might have to jump up just a little bit. You might have to lift you up. You want to come up over here?
My wife's she's coming over.
Hey, while they're coming over, I'm going to make sure the camera is pointing down to get you all.
Okay. Come here, Lois, get in the camera. This is my wife, Miss Burke. So this is little Kelly, this is Abigail, and this is Miss Liliana. Y'all say hi. This is the Burke family.
Hi.
The Burke family for Arlington.
Tell them, Kelly, where they can get your signs and about your...
Oh, okay. So if you're here in the Arlington area and you want to support the campaign, you can stop by the campaign headquarters. That's at our daycare, Miss Burke's Christian Academy, 5900 Matlock Road. That's located right in Arlington, Texas. So stop by. You'll see a big, huge banner outside with us on it, and you'll know you're at the right place.
That sounds great. It looks like you're raising up an army too.
Yes, sir. We are.
Okay.
Slowly. We're doing it slowly but surely. Yes, sir.
I'll tell you what. It's such a privilege to meet you all. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Well, dap, I got my left hand.
Okay, good enough.
Thank you, brother. God bless, man.
God bless
Thank
you too.
Thank you.
All the best. Nice to meet you too. Thank you.